Hello, my name is Vanessa and welcome to our virtual yoga class. Let's go ahead and get settled for class in a seated position. So you can come into a cross-legged, or if you prefer to sit on your ankles, you can as well. Make any little adjustments here, toes, ankles, shifting your knees and hips. For now, we'll take a moment to take a breath, inhale and exhale. Inviting the cultivation of your practice, and I always emphasize cultivation to emphasize that this is something that's long-term. It's not just something you're naturally good at. We have some days that we feel really on it, very good at it, and there's other times where it's a little bit more challenging. So always welcome your experience, whatever that is. Shift your attention to your breath. And then start to notice the rest of your body. You're grounded on the mat. You can place some attention there around the small of your back, your lower back. Activate the core. Shift your attention to your mid-back and upper back. This is when it's a good opportunity to start lengthening your spine, purposely drawing your shoulders down, checking in with your chin. Chin is neutral. So we're working on a posture here. We're noticing that our bodies are more active. As we move throughout our day, our tendency is to collapse our bodies or not be very aware of our bodies, perhaps pinching up our shoulders, storing tension in our neck, rounding our spine. So right now we're cultivating that body awareness where we become more familiar with how our bodies feel and we're more intentional with our bodies, drawing the shoulders down, core active, chin neutral. And also our eyes. Your gaze can focus on one point across the floor or room. And I emphasize focusing on one point. When our thoughts are busy or we're thinking a lot, our eyes tend to flutter around, or even when we're uncomfortable. So when you're training your gaze to be steady, you're training a certain level of awareness with the body to notice and check in with what's going on, but keeping that mental focus, working on that focus from one moment to the next, keeping a steady gaze. Now, there's also the option of closing your eyes. Here, this might assist in a deeper sensory experience, a more internal sensory experience of the body. So you can notice there's a difference here with eyes opened or eyes closed. And as usual in my yoga classes, I try to emphasize to make your practice your own. Make those individual adjustments that make this your practice and not just someone or a teacher telling you what to do. That's not the focus. The focus here is to step into your body and see what is more helpful from one moment to the next. And whatever it is you're integrating, physically, mentally, emotionally. Once again, checking in, long spine, eyes open or closed, and let's inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. Inhale again, exhale, sigh it out, releasing physical, mental, emotional tension. Also noticing our breath as our bridge to the physical, mental, emotional bodies. Slowing down our relationship with time, letting go of our to-do list, arriving to our bodies. It's a process to arrive to our bodies. Inhale here, you can exhale, sigh it out. 3 more breaths here. Perhaps lengthening your inhale and your exhale a little longer than you're accustomed to. At any point, inhaling and exhaling, sighing out. If you're sitting on your ankles, knees bent the way that I am positioned in, go ahead and shift the position into your cross-legged. If you're already in your cross-legged, great. Notice which leg is most forward and then switch it out. Hands lightly on your knees. Bring your shoulders up towards your ears and then draw them down. A few times here. Elbows remain loose around sides of your torso. Drawing your shoulder blades closer together as you release your shoulders down. Another round. Inhaling, lifting those shoulders, exhaling, drawing them down. Let's take one centering breath here. Inhale, exhale. Throughout the class, we're returning to our breath. Drop your chin towards your chest. We're going to focus on our neck here. Come into these neck rolls, either half a circle or a full circle, being mindful of where the tension is being stored. Now you'll know that because you'll notice little parts that feel a little more sore, a little bit more tense. If you're rolling your head all the way back, be attentive to the opening in the throat. We tend to roll forward with our chin and our upper back when we're in our cars, on our smartphones, computers, desks. So we want to give our body that experience, that opposite shift. Throat open, head back. And if you prefer to work on some meditation right now, being very still, you can go ahead and take a moment to work on that meditation. Otherwise, we'll be here anywhere 5 to 10 breaths. You don't have to necessarily count the breath count. Just letting you know so that you give yourself time to really deepen, stretch, open, release. Generous breath. After another breath or two, bring your head back to a neutral position. You'll take your left hand over your right knee and then twist towards the right. Chin moves towards your chest, your spine remains long. And then come back to center, opposite side. Release, come back to center. Inhale, arms lift up. Palms up towards the ceiling. Let's round our spine, chin towards chest. Palms face the front, hold here. And release. We've gently opened up the upper body here. Let's focus on our hamstrings, our lower body. And not just our hamstrings, we're working on our calves here. We're even opening through the glutes and the hips just by folding over. You're gonna press that right foot right against your left thigh. That can be, you can gently press your foot against your thigh. It doesn't have to be something firm. With your left foot, determine what you prefer, if you keep that foot flexed or if you prefer to keep it relaxed. You can have a little bend to your knee. You don't have to lock your knee. And then a goal here is not to crunch your shoulders up to your ears and just try to reach towards your toes. It's more about leading through the chest and heart, keeping a nice long spine. And you might notice that you can't fold as deep as if you rolled your shoulders forward and caped forward. But that's not the goal. We want to maintain some integrity with the lines of our body. So chest, heart forward, breathing into your hamstring, breathing into your boundary. This is where your breath becomes very important. As we're working on flexibility, strength, and balance. In flexibility, you're breathing, noticing what's releasing, and by noticing what's releasing, what's opening up, you can start to fold just a little bit more. Notice where that boundary is and fold a little bit past that. That's how we work on our flexibility, by starting to shift a little bit past our comfort zone, and that breath is really helpful to make this a comfortable experience versus an uncomfortable experience. You want to know yourself in all the different poses to not push yourself to a point where this is uncomfortable. You don't want to go back to the practice. You don't want that. And then you'll notice some days you can go a lot further and sometimes you can't. So notice where you're at right now. Notice if there's any tightness in the breath, any tightness around the belly. Belly expands on the inhale. We have 3 more breaths here. Foot flex or relax. And then release. Right foot extends forward, left foot right presses against your thigh. Gentle or firmly, determine what you want to do with that right foot, left foot, and then keep a long spine. Noticing just by lengthening our spine and pressing our foot forward, we're already opening around the hamstring. And start to fold. A couple of deep breaths. Notice where that boundary is. Inhale. Exhale. And after another breath, start to release. Keep that right leg long. Now we're going to combine both legs, both feet. Keep your feet flex or relax. A little bend to your knee and fold. Relax your belly as you breathe. Breathing into calves, hamstrings, glutes, and hips. You can inhale your exhale side out. Feel free to hear your inhale and your exhale. Hands can reach to your toes, ankles, shins, calves, thighs. Belly towards your thighs. 2 more breaths. And then after those breaths, release. Shift out of this position. We're going to shift into our downward facing dog. Hands on the floor. Let's lift our hips up towards the ceiling. So we're going to stay here a few breaths. Make sure you're grounding through your palms. Fingertips are spread wide. Your heels are lifted. Now, as you're pressing pressing your palms on the mat, bring your chest closer towards your thighs and make sure you're softening your neck. Neck is relaxed here. Breathe between your shoulder blades. Your fingertips spread wide, your heels. There's a little bend to your knees. You're in this upside down V. Hold. Generating heat in the body, warming up the body. Taking a full body breath. Now take your gaze between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Now we're going to take our hands to our shins. Inhale halfway up once. Exhale, release. Purposely grounding through your feet, your heels. We're going to sweep our arms up overhead. Hands in front of your heart center. Take a moment here. You're upside down for a few breaths. Let the body settle. Hands in front of your chest or hands framing your hips. You can take your gaze to one point across the floor room or keep your gaze closed. Inhale here. Exhale. You can sigh it out. Let's move through 3 sun salutations, creating our own personal rhythm. I'll go at a cue, but you can move at a different pace, quicker or slower. Do your best to sync up your breath with the body's movements. Now, you can always hold a pose, breathing an inhale and an exhale into a pose if you're holding, let's say, an upward facing dog or you're holding a plank pose. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, pull down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Your hands are directly beneath your shoulders. Core is active, lifted up towards the ceiling. You're exhaling, releasing down towards the floor. You're inhaling up into your upward facing dog, and then curling your toes, and then exhale into your downward facing dog. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to your forward fold. We're going to take our hands to our shins. Let's inhale halfway up. Exhale, release, soften your neck. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Noticing left hand, press against right hand, press against left hand. Practice of presence here, slowing down to this present moment. Inhale, exhale, release, arms lift. Exhale, bend your knees, pull down to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back, plank pose. Release down towards the floor, inhale up. Downward facing dog. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold, hands to shins, inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, so sweep your arms up overhead. You're noticing your toes, your heels, the length of your spine. Arms lifting up, scooping up the energy of the day, integrating it down to our heart centers. Let's inhale, exhale, sigh it out. Third sun salutation, arms lift. Exhale, bend your knees, pull down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back into your plank pose. Toss of the feet on the floor as you shift up into your upward facing dog. And we meet in our down dog. Pedal your feet back and forth in this downward facing dog. And the knees shift and release down towards the floor. Check your hands. Make sure your hands are beneath your shoulders. We're going to press that left hand onto the floor. Lift our right arm up towards the ceiling, opening up our side body, lengthening throughout that right arm. You're pressing that right shoulder back, and then release. Opposite side, lift your left arm up, opening that left side body, pressing that shoulder back, lengthening the arm, release, and now step back into your child's pose. Knees close together or knees towards the edges of your mat. Take a supportive breath here. Bringing and shifting your attention back to your breath. See if you can invite one inhale and exhale longer than you're accustomed to. Two more breaths in your child's pose. Perhaps open mouth exhale, sighing out. On your following exhale, you're going to start to ground your palms onto the mat. Lift back up into your downward facing dog. Take your gaze between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Let's inhale halfway up. Exhale, release. This time we're going to roll up slowly, practicing that presence, that awareness throughout the body. You want to practice slowly moving our bodies as we tend to move very quickly throughout the day. Hands can meet either in front of your heart center or hands can frame your hips. We'll take a moment to ground. We're going to go through a series of balance poses. Inhale. Exhale. Let's lift our arms up overhead. Let's feel that grounded balance with both feet on the floor. Palms up towards the ceiling. You lift your hips. You lift your heels halfway or all the way up. Find a point to focus on, keep your gaze steady, and then find an even breath. How does your breath change when you balance? Inhale. Exhale. Release your hands, paddle your feet back and forth. A pose of strength and groundedness, chair pose. Bend your knees, arms shoot out, knees are bent. Glutes are engaged. Deep belly breath. You're lifting your tailbone up towards the ceiling. And now release, fold down, relax your neck, the length of your neck. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, release your choice how you come up to standing. You can roll up slowly or you can sweep your arms up overhead or something with a little bit of a combination of both. Hands framing your hips, hands in front of your heart center. Take a grounded breath. And then we'll continue to work a little combination of strength, balance, and flexibility. We're going to ground our right foot onto the floor. You're going to lift the opposite leg, so your left knee is bent. Take a moment here. Hands to your hips. You're already opening up here around the hips and the glutes. You're balancing here. Now you can take your left hand, open up your knee towards the left side of the room here. You bring your arm out to help you with balance. You can remain here or grip your big toe with your fingers, lengthening the leg as much as you can. So any variation there works. You can keep that knee And then release, keep that knee floating. Hold and keep that arm extended. Now release your hand. Now you can rest your shin, your ankle on top of your thigh. Bend your right knee. I'm lifting my tailbone up towards the ceiling. Hands are in front of my chest. This requires a lot of opening here around the glutes, the quads. If you prefer just to come into a regular chair pose, go ahead and move into your chair pose. Otherwise, remain here. Steady your breath. And then either come down into a regular forward fold or release your hands towards the floor. Soften your neck, your head. Keep your shin, your ankle on your thigh. Watch your neck. Neck is relaxed. Fingertips are beneath your shoulders. Breathe into your left hip. Breathe into your hamstrings. Notice that balance of strength, flexibility. Release your foot onto the floor. 3 rounds, hands on your shins. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, softening the neck. Second round. Making sure your neck is soft as you release. Exhale, fold over. Third round. After that third round, your choice how you come up to standing. Rolling up slowly, sweeping your arms up overhead, or even a combination of the two. Mountain pose, hands framing your hips. Or mountain pose, hands in front of your heart center. Let's take a moment to find your breath. Inhaling and exhaling for the day we've had so far. Inhale and exhale for this moment. Inhale and exhale for the rest of our day. Open your eyes. And now opposite side, we're going to ground. Actually, let's go ahead and move into a chair pose. Contrast that balance and opening there with a chair pose, bending your knees, arms shoot out, chest is open. You're bringing your shoulders down, lifting your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Your feet are parallel with each other. Distribute your weight from your toes to your heels. Inhale. Exhale. Bend your knees further. Forward fold. 1 round. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale. Release. Softening your neck. Second round. Exhale. Release. And third round. Inhale, halfway up. Your choice how you come up to standing. Make it intentional. This is your practice. Moving at your pace. Seeing what most supports you. Welcoming your breath. Welcoming your experience. You can inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. We'll start to prepare for our strength and balance. We're going to anchor that left foot onto the floor. Bring up your right knee. Take a moment here just to ground, noticing the balance, noticing your knee, your hip. You can bring your arm out, open up your knee towards the right side of the room. Either remaining here or getting your middle finger and index finger around that big toe and then lengthening that leg as much as you can. You're lengthening your leg and also shifting your leg towards the right. Keep your gaze steady. And release. You can release that knee. So grab that knee there. Take a breath. Inhale, exhale. Release your hand. Now rest that ankle. Chin on your thigh. Now you have the option of coming directly into a chair pose with both feet on the floor. Otherwise, you're in this pose. Hips open up, glutes open up. You're lifting your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Steady breath. And then with the option of coming into both feet on the floor in a regular forward fold, Or keeping your ankle, your shin on your thigh, dropping your hands right beneath your shoulders. Soften the neck. Breathe into your right hip. Breathe into your hamstrings. Neck is soft. Release your foot onto the floor. 3 rounds, inhale halfway up. Exhale, release, softening your neck. Second round, inhale halfway up. Exhale, release. Third round, inhale halfway up. Exhale, release. Your choice. Now you come up to standing. Make it intentional. This is your practice. There's these little changes and modifications we can always do to make this practice our own. Check in with the breath, see where it's at. Inhale, you can exhale, sigh it out. Exhale, release. So we're going to prepare for a half moon pose. Your right foot is grounded on the floor here. So for your half moon pose, what's going to happen is that your fingertips are going to be a direct line right beneath your shoulders as you're simultaneously lifting your left leg. So first, grounding those fingertips on the floor is critical as you're simultaneously lengthening that left leg as much as you can. It's all right if your leg collapses a little bit. It requires a lot of strength here around the glutes and a lot of opening here around the hips, and obviously a lot of core strength here. So you're coming into a balanced pose that uses a lot of strength. Hands on the floor. So your fingertips are right beneath your shoulders here. You're lifting your leg as much as you can. You can remain here if you're more comfortable like this, but the full expression is keep lifting that left arm up towards the ceiling. You can make any adjustments that you need with your right hand, left arm, and your leg. Either keeping your gaze down towards the floor or taking your gaze up towards the ceiling. Place weight on that right heel. Steady your breath. Release that left hand. Lift that left leg as high as you can. Standing splits. And the left foot meets that right foot. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, release. Intentionally lift up to standing. Arriving to your breath. Arriving to your experience. Let's take a mountain pose with hands framing your hips. Imagine that if I tried to move you, it would be difficult for me to do so. You're grounded, core active. Shifting you out of this pose would be difficult by any outside force. Open your eyes if your eyes are closed. Shift your feet on the floor. We're going to prepare for our half moon pose on the opposite side. This time we're grounding through that left heel, that left foot. As a reminder, your fingertips are reaching down directly in line with your shoulders on the floor. So once that left hand is comfortable, that line, fingertips to your shoulder, you're simultaneously lifting your right leg as high as you can, making any adjustments. And you're going to have a little bend to that left knee to support you. You're also, if you're up for it, simultaneously lifting your right arm up towards the ceiling as you shift into that half moon pose. So again, you're lifting your right leg, and it's up to you if you want to keep your hands on your hips, or if you want to open up those hips even more, lift that right arm up towards the ceiling. You're lifting your right leg as much as you can. You can have a little bend to that left knee. Lots of opening here, the hamstrings, hips, glutes, core strength. You can point your toes or relax that left foot or that right foot. Find that breath. And then release your hand onto the floor. So if both hands are beneath your shoulders, lift that right leg as high as you can. Right meets your left foot. Inhale halfway up. One round. Exhale. Intentionally lift to stand. Noticing the combination of working on flexibility, balance, and strength simultaneously. Welcoming your breath, welcoming your experience. We're going to go ahead and seal these balance poses with our two-legged balance the way we began. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead, palms up towards the ceiling. Lift your heels halfway or all the way up. Quads are engaged here and active. Glutes and core. Keep your gaze steady. Notice where your breath is. Release your hands. Release your heels. We're going to come into our malasana or squat. So your feet are about hips width distance apart. First, we're going to go ahead and lengthen our stance a little bit more. Hands to your heart center. And what I mean by lengthen, widen your stance. You're not hips width distance apart where your feet are directly beneath your hips. You want about another two foot widening there. Bend your knees. I'm lifting my tailbone up towards the ceiling. Chest is open. Knees bend. Elbows on my knees, and then I lift my heels. Now, as I'm lifting my heels, I'm going to naturally tilt forward a little bit. That's okay. Hold this squat. One more breath. Release. Glutes on the floor. We're going to shift down to lay down on our back, but first we'll come into a boat pose. From the boat pose, we'll release down towards the floor. So make sure you have room behind you to eventually lengthen your back. Palms up towards the ceiling, and you always have the option of taking your hands behind your thighs for extra support. You can do that. So before we lift our legs, check in with any collapse there in the spine. You imagine there's a cord lifting your chest. Lift your legs. So as I'm lifting my legs, I'm simultaneously working through glutes and quads. Lots of strength here, lots of core strength here as well. Palms up towards the ceiling or hands behind your thighs. You can get some more lift if you do so. Imagine there's a cord lifting your chest up towards the ceiling. Don't forget your breath. And now chin towards your chest, slowly release down towards the floor, lengthen your legs. Sometimes they're more graceful than others. Now head on the floor. Welcome a deep breath. Notice how your breath supports you in regulating your physical, mental, emotional bodies. Soften neck and shoulders down your fingertips to your toes. Start to bend your right knee, feet float, hands towards that knee. 3 rounds, we'll lift our forehead up towards our knee and then drop our chin back. Now make this an opportunity, this is a core workout, but make it an opportunity to open up your mid-back, upper back, around the neck. Chin towards chest. Then after that 3rd round, release. Opposite side, bend your left knee, grab that left knee, round your spine. Focus on the mid-back, upper back. Chin towards chest to get that release around the back of the neck. And then after those 3 rounds, float both feet off the floor and then massage that lower back around the tailbone. We've been lifting our tailbone a lot towards the ceiling today. And massage that lower back. And you do that rocking the left and to the right to get that full benefit of massaging that lower back. And then after you've taken a moment there, drop that left leg onto the floor. Let's lift our right leg up towards the ceiling. Breathe into your calf behind your knee, hamstrings. You can rotate your ankle clockwise, counterclockwise. We balanced a lot on our feet today. And you can drop your leg towards the right or towards the left. And then bend your knees, take your hands around your knee, round your spine, forehead up towards your knee, chin towards your chest, drop your head back. 2 more times, lift your forehead up towards your knee, chin towards chest, drop your head back. As we did earlier. And after the 3rd round, release. Bend both knees, rest your ankle, your shin, right on top of your left thigh. Now weave your hands between your legs, interlace your fingers right behind that left thigh. You can hang in here or intensify the stretch by bringing your thigh closer towards your belly, your chest. Shoulders away from your ears. Stay 5 to 10 breaths here. Focus on that right hip, right outer hip. Right hip, right glute. Inhale. Exhale. Release. Opposite side now. Lift your left leg up towards the ceiling. Interlace your fingers right behind that knee. Rotate your ankle. Point your toes, open up the balls of the feet, tops of the feet, areas we tend to not pay attention to. And then after a breath, you can start to bring your leg closer towards you. You can drop your leg towards the left and towards the right, either keeping a sway or just focusing on one side. And after a few moments there, bend that left knee, 3 rounds, forehead up towards your knee, drop your head back. After those 3 rounds, bend both knees, drop that left shin or ankle on top of your right thigh. You're focusing on your left hip, left glute. Weave your left hand between your legs, interlace your fingers behind your thigh, either hanging in here or bringing your thigh closer towards your chest or bum. To the best of your ability, shoulders are soft. Inhale and exhale. Release. Both feet float off the floor, round your spine, forehead up towards your knee, chin towards chest, hold. And then drop your head, drop your knees towards the right, bring your arms out to a T. You're gonna come into a twist, and then drop your head towards the left. Soften neck, shoulders, down the spine. Take 2 more comfortable breaths. Knees come back to center. Drop your knees towards the left. Drop your head towards the right. It's important that your head and your knees face opposite directions for the full benefit of the twist. As you're here, you're softening your neck, shoulders down the length of your spine, hips. Imagining your knees fall further towards the floor. Now be purposeful in softening the body. It's surprising that we're laying down, softening and relaxing the body, but our body will still hold on to some tension. Find those little pockets and release. Two more comfortable breaths here. We're going to start to release your twist, lengthen your legs. We're going to start to prepare for our final resting pose. Let's take one full breath. Remind yourself what your full breath is like and exhale, sigh it out. Take 2 more full breaths. Knowing that at any time throughout the day, you can always return to this full breath. You can continue practicing some full deep breathing. It does take practice to maintain full long breaths over a period of time. You can also allow your breath to go back to its natural rhythm. Once again, this class is about making it your personal practice, seeing what supports you the most. This pose is an opportunity to be, to not have any expectations of the body, just noticing. There's a lot of wisdom in this pose, and it's the pose we hold the longest. Soften your forehead and jaw, perhaps even just imagining a release there. Soften the neck, shoulders. Down the length of your arms. Noticing your release in your palms, your fingertips. We tend to hold on and grab so much with our hands. It's a good metaphor of noticing a purposeful release of the hands, palms, and fingers. Soften and release throughout the spine, upper back, mid back, lower back, to the area around your tailbone. And then down the length of your legs, release the upper back, not upper back, release around the hips, behind the knees, down to your ankles and toes. Softening, letting go, receiving your practice, integrating your practice, letting go of your practice. You'll start to shift your attention back to your breath. Inviting a generous and leisurely inhale and exhale. Releasing any temptation or sensation of hurry. Restore some movement to your fingertips, to your toes. You have the option of inviting a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, pointing your toes, and or turning your body to the left side or right. Notice your breath. Invite an easy breath, a generous breath, a leisurely breath. And then after another breath or two, start to make your way up to your seated position. Our conclusion to our class, you can sit on your ankles or sit cross-legged. Our spine is long, our shoulders are relaxed. Your eyes can be opened or they can be closed. Notice you've been cultivating presence throughout the class, and you can take this with you throughout your day and your week. And it can be in very subtle ways. Always congratulate yourself with the work you've done. Cultivation is a very subtle process. And so we'll seal the class in gratitude. Our hands in front of our chest. Let's inhale here. And exhale. Release. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me sees the highest in you. Namaste.